Hi, and welcome to Mutant Mother, Wife, and Autistic too. Sorry, I've been away for a while. I've had a really crazy few weeks. You wouldn't believe it. I've had a sick child, I've had a sick dog, I've had missed opportunities to see Ed Sheeran, which was devastating. Anyway, I'm back, and I just wanted to do a video on what it is like to be a special needs parent. I, like a lot of special needs parents, get the comment, oh, you're an amazing mum. I don't know how you do it. I wouldn't be able to cope. I think you're fantastic. You're great with Zoe. Yada, yada, yada. And I do appreciate these comments. I mean, I know they're meant to be a compliment and all that, but as a parent, it's really quite galling in a way, because people are paying me a compliment for doing what they do. What is it like to be a special needs parent? It's like being a parent. Basically, I am doing the job that I signed up to do the minute my daughter was born. I didn't know whether she'd have special needs or not. I thought she was going to be like me, which turns out is a bit more complicated than I knew back then. But that's by the by. Zoe is a kid, a child. I'm her mother, and I do whatever it takes to make sure that she has a great life. I love her with all my heart. She's the joy that I couldn't be without. But then every mother feels like that about their children, really. Well, most mothers do. And I'm just doing what everybody else would do in my situation. When people say to me, I just don't know how you do it, I just think, well, I don't have a choice. I chose to have a child, and I will care for that child to the best of my ability, and I'll make sure that child has a fantastic life to the best of my ability. And that's what motherhood is. That's what everyone wants for their children. They want their children to have a wonderful life. Granted that my child comes with a heck of a lot more paperwork and filing, and she comes with a lot of appointments, and she comes with a lot of battles, and I do have to put doctors in their place sometimes, and I do have to argue, and I do get criticised because I pushed for an ADHD assessment, I pushed for an ASD assessment, and I had people saying, why do you want extra labels on your child? And that frustrated me because, quite frankly, I don't get to choose whether Zoe's autistic or not, and I don't get to choose whether she has ADHD or not. I do, however, get to choose whether or not she has the right support in schools, which she can't get without a diagnosis. So labels are important, and they don't change who she is. They don't make her any different. They don't change the stubborn, funny, loving, independent, feisty-spirited child that I have. They just happen to be a part of her makeup. I do have depression and anxiety, but I think any motherhood would have brought that on. I am autistic after all, and so, you know, I do find things very, very challenging, but I wouldn't change any of it. And when people say to me, oh, you're a brilliant mum, I'm not really. I'm just a mum. I'm just doing what I need to do to make sure my child has a fantastic life. I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. And if they were in my situation, they would be doing the same. And how do I have the strength? I have the strength because I have no choice, and I have a daughter who needs me, and that's what gets me through the day. That's what makes me do what I do. I wouldn't wrap her up in cotton wool, and even though people think that they would wrap their child in cotton wool if they were in the same position, they wouldn't, because we all want our child to have amazing lives, and they're not going to have an amazing life wrapped in cotton wool, stuck in a house. I said from the very beginning that I wanted Zoe to have a full life, and if that means her life is shorter because I didn't keep her wrapped in cotton wool, well then, so be it, because at the end of the day, what is the point of a long life if you're imprisoned? That's no life. What else was I going to say? I was just going to say, it's ironic, really, because I ended a pregnancy because my son was going to be severely disabled if he survived the birth at all, which in my heart of hearts, I knew he wouldn't. So I had a choice of how he died in my mind, really. But, you know, part of that, if I'm truly honest with myself, was a fear of me not being able to cope with a special needs kid, and how society would treat a special needs kid, and how much pressure that would put on my relationship. And ironically, of course, I gave birth a couple of years later to a disabled kid. And had I known that she was disabled before she was born, no, I don't think I would have ended that pregnancy, because she had a chance. I felt that I always felt that Zoe was going to live. I didn't feel that Zach was going to live. I had an instinctive knowledge that Zach would have died the moment he was born. And actually, Zoe's birth 2 years later just proved that I was right, because of course he was far, far more affected, and my pregnancy with him was far more complicated a lot earlier than it got with Zoe. But I don't really need to justify myself on that one. The point is that I think fear drives a lot of people to end pregnancies with disabled kids. Fear of if they would cope, fear of how society would treat their children, fear of what would happen to their child after they're no longer around. And those fears are completely justified, and they're valid, because I have those fears now. I have the fear of what's going to happen to Zoe after I'm no longer here. And in fact, I can't talk about it because I will get really upset, because I am scared. That is a genuine fear. But, healthy children are born and things can happen to them and they become disabled. And then you still stuck with the same fear. And my worry nowadays is, because antenatal screening was introduced without an ethics committee or discussion about, the validity of screening for disabilities and what that means for the disabled population, we're going to get less and less disabled people. I genuinely worry that the Downs population will diminish and be rare, few and far between. And that'll be a real tragedy, because, a person with Down syndrome is just a different type of person. It's not a person with Down syndrome is no less valuable to society than I am. It's no less valuable to society than a neurotypical person is. You don't appreciate what disability does in society until you have a disabled kid. When you see her go into a mainstream school with other kids who don't have issues, and you see those other children develop skills in compassion and empathy and kindness, things that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. And I am so grateful that Zoe is disabled, and I'm so grateful that she is who she is, because I think that she makes a difference wherever she goes. And I see the response in people to her, and I see what a difference that makes. And in this day and age where there is so much negative crap going on, where there is so much division and isolation and them versus me, and it's just people who engender love and compassion and kindness. We need more of them. We need more of them, because we need to basically stamp out the hate and stamp out the negativity and start bringing inclusion back into society. And it's not just for disabled people, it's for people of colour, of different sexual orientation. And I just think that having disabled people in the world does that. And I'm so proud that my daughter is disabled. And I'm so proud that she's as strong and as feisty as she is. And yes, life is harder for her. And yes, as a parent, you do worry about her. But I don't think that I am any kind of super mum. And I don't think that I'm any kind of amazing woman because I happen to fight for my kid. I think every mother and every father would fight for their child. We all love our children. We all want the best for them. And just because my child is more complicated doesn't make me a better mother than you. If you were in my position, you would do exactly the same thing. There's no doubt about that. You would cope, probably with the help of medication and therapy, but you would cope. And you would learn, and you would become stronger and wiser, more compassionate, more empathetic, more understanding of the importance of disability. And I am grateful for it. Every moment of my life, I am grateful for it. And I just can't believe that I've been gifted with such an amazing child. And yes, I still hate filing. And yes, I still have piles of paperwork all over the house. But she's worth it. So I just wanted to let you know that parenting a child with special needs might look like a different kind of parenthood. It might look like a harder kind of parenthood. But I think at the end of the day, it's still just parenthood. It's still us doing the best for our kids. It's still us doing what you do, just in a different way. So that's all I wanted to say. So have a great weekend. The weather's beautiful here in London, so I hope wherever you are, you've got great plans. I am really busy. There's the World Cup on, if anyone hadn't noticed, and we're barbecuing and we're going to the theatre. And Zoe's at Shooting Star this weekend. Thank God for Shooting Star. So she's going to have a blast. We're going to have a blast. And I hope wherever you are, you're going to have a blast. Over and out. Bye.